Hello there, lovers. This is going to be a long video, so if you had somewhere to go, you might want to cancel though. Plan though. I'm just playing. Of course, it's more important to be social and go to your granny's 80th birthday party than to listen to me. However, if you are on your way to said granny's birthday party, I'm also going to put a audio link below so you can listen to this via podcast, so you don't have to like sit here and stare at my face, which I don't have any makeup on and I didn't put my extensions in today. That's a pretty big deal for me. I've been really desperately trying to grow my hair back since last year's, catastrophe of abuse that I put my scalp through. I'm getting a little better. This is off topic. It's not a hair video. Get over yourself. Yesterday was a rough day for me. Yesterday I spent the day crying. So today in this video, no, I'm not crying today because I did it yesterday because I was just saying to my sister, I had an epiphany because a friend of mine, Rick Shucks, who you guys know of course from Poon the Peen, is trying to lose weight. And he was telling me about the process of losing weight when your body's accustomed to being a certain size. And I thought, man, it really opened my eyes, of course, to what people go through, obviously, when they're trying to undertake a really massive thing like weight loss, and how we make jokes and act like it's this frivolous thing when truly it's redefining yourself in every sense of the word and changing your body makeup. And I felt yesterday like that really rang true for me in terms of success. All my life, I have reached a certain level of success and then I plateau, as if my body or my being is only meant to be a little bit above mediocre. I did track and field. I went to the World Championships. I won national championships in Canada. I got a full scholarship to the States. I had quit track anyways because I decided that that wasn't my true calling, that there was only so far I was meant to get in that field, and so I shifted focuses to journalism. Immediately when I started school for journalism, I started writing a book called Blvd, which you guys might have heard of. It's young people's experiences with sex and easy access culture, and I gave my all to this book. I gave everything I had. I thought with all my heart I'm meant to be a writer. Writing is my number one, my first passion, my first love, and so I did. And when it came out, kind of the same thing with track. I got it published across North America. I got to appear in a lot of cool shows. I went and toured. It was cool. It just never really spilled over to something awesome. And I made zero money off of that. You guys, with a publishing deal, it's a lot like a record company deal where they recoup a lot. So they do a lot of investment in you, but for example, they'll design your book cover, but they will put the cost of designing your book cover at $10,000. So you're never gonna really recoup that money and you'll never make anything off of it, but you just do it for the cool factor. That's how I felt the experience with Blvd went. And so I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna write books anymore until I've grown my audience. So I started to really focus on growing my audience. And I had a channel called Those Girls Are Wild. Gave my all into that for 3 years, maybe 3 to 4 years. That situation just, again, it was plateauing. We had gotten to 80,000 subscribers, which at the time was pretty sizable because YouTube wasn't like what it is now, where people can become legitimate stars. So when Those Girls Are Wild, myself and the other partner were really not seeing eye to eye and the channel was really not growing, I decided again to switch focuses because I'm like, I've plateaued, I gotta move on. And then I went into traditional media. And I was like, I think I'm good enough to be, an on-air host and to work in TV, and there's no reason that I should be going to web. I should be able to get an established job because I have the skill set and I put the work in, and obviously I have all this experience. And I did that for maybe 3 years and some change. And again, it was kind of like, I achieved enough to get me to America on a work visa. And I achieved enough to get booked on a lot of pilots, but it never bubbled over into something that made a real career for myself. And like classic Shannon, in September, I once again shifted focuses and I was like, I'm going back to YouTube. And I'm dedicating myself to sex education. I'm gonna finish my clinical sexology. I'm going to work with people online. I'm going to do this full-time as my passion. I'm not going to worry about traditional, because the problem with traditional media is you can put a lot of work into that field and nothing comes out. In How to Get Naked and Wit, I talked about booking this pilot, and it was a massive deal. It was so much work. Months of auditioning to finally get it, to shoot it, for it to be a dream project, only for the head of the network to get fired the day that our show was being tested, and for the new head of network to come in and can all of the shows the previous head of network had created, and for all my work and months of anguish and trying and sacrifice and the glory to mean nothing and for no one to see it. And so I decided that I'm going to shift back to YouTube. I feel very blessed right now that all my friends are hella successful. Like, I am best friends with Division, one of the members. He produced Hotline Bling, he produced One Dance. Like, he is my friend I sold 2 of my shitty old cars to, and now he has a house and multiple cars and he's very successful. Of course, Shameless Maya, who's an immense inspiration on me, and just seeing her success firsthand and how she's been able to utilize her platform to truly make a better life, not only for herself, but for employees that she's now able to hire. The girl has an office. Winnie Harlow, whom I mentored, and my mentor now could basically babysit my ass. Like, she is soaring, and of course was just in the Beyonce project for Lemonade, and is an amazingly great success. You know, there's Melanie Fiona, you know, who has 2 Grammys, and, you know, Amber's Closet. All of my friends are way more successful than me. All of my friends have way more money than I do, and I feel kind of grateful to say that. So yesterday I was really just distraught. Like, why does God only want me to get so far? You know, like, why does God only want me to minimally receive some form of success? Why aren't I massively successful? You know, why haven't I had a best-selling book? Why don't I have a multi-million subscriber YouTube channel? Why aren't I on a very successful TV show? And of course the answer came back is because I don't stick with shit. When I get to my plateau, or that place of, you know, as far as I can go, I accept that that's the ceiling, and I decide that I have to shift in order to get somewhere different, rather than really pushing past that last 10 pounds. You know, they say the first 100 pounds is the easiest and the last 10 is the hardest. To really shed that last 10 pounds, I keep quitting on myself. And when I had that realization, I was like, it's time to stop feeling sorry for yourself and to do whatever's necessary to really get rid of those last 10. And on top of not feeling sorry for yourself, start feeling proud of yourself. I did a lot in the past 6 months, y'all. Like, there's 2 major relationships that I got rid of, both in the last quarter of 2015. I was in a long relationship, which a lot of you guys might be aware of. That was not a positive relationship. I really connected with Beyonce's Lemonade because I know what it's like to love somebody so much at the cost of yourself and still be treated poorly, and still be chosen second, and still be trampled all over, and to be abused and to be hurt, and to want to take the blame on for yourself because you love that deeply that you want to do anything you can, even if that means risking your own self-esteem. And in September, a major thing happened where I looked this guy in the face and I said, it is not my fault you're fucked up. The most powerful thing I could have done. It is not my fault that you are fucked up. There is nothing that I could do. There is no more that I could love. There is nothing that I could have said to make you a good person. And you have to go on that journey for yourself, and that journey does not include me, and I've not spoken to that person. And you guys have probably noticed I've put out a lot more videos. My social media following has doubled since that time. I had plateaued at like 30,000 for a long time, and since that shedding, things have doubled. So when that happened and I got rid of this person, it recharged my life. So I started actually getting a lot more bookings too as a performer, you know, and it was kind of simultaneous. So I got a cast in a movie for TV One called Gina the Joneses, and I was speaking at schools. I was getting hit up personally via email to do so. And then I got another deal from BET to develop my own show with them, and my own with an asterisk, because my agent, whom is not a specialized agent in what I do, she is an acting agent who we had a good relationship and felt she could help me. She was also my petitioner into America. She was the only agent who said yes to me when I needed someone to say yes, you know, obviously because I had a work visa and you need an agent to sponsor you into the country. So she did a lot for me, and she took a big risk on me. I wasn't an actor, I wasn't a part of her usual roster, but she did, and she fell in love with my content. I think in the process of her falling in love with my content and me being grateful that somebody in America thought it was great and was willing to help me, I made her feel like she was more than just an agent of my content, that maybe she was responsible. I just kept noticing that every job that I was getting was coming from me, or my relationships, or my networking, and every opportunity I was getting was coming from me. And opportunities that I passed on to her that were just like seeds, they hadn't blossomed yet, never really came to fruition, you know, when it was under her control. And now, mind you, that's a part of the industry that I'm in. A lot of shit never really comes to fruition. That's just, people just talk. And I've learned that really, really the hard way recently, which I'll talk about later in the video. I'm like, you're not really pulling your weight. And so I called it to her attention and said, I think I need to get an agent who specializes in what I do. Now, we are really good friends, me and this person. I worked on a project for free for her, which is a little unethical for an agent to ask their talent to work as free talent on their own project. I did a lot of free things for her, and in return, she did the same for me. She gave me a lot of extra attention, extra coaching. She tried to encourage me into acting, which it was never really my thing, but I got that it was her comfort level, so I tried it. Obviously didn't book shit, I mean, other than Gina the Joneses thing, but that wasn't because I was an actor. It was because I had a personal relationship with the casting director who just really wanted to have me a part of that project. So I just asked her if I can get somebody on who kind of had different expertise, and she flat out said no. She said, no, I am this, and that's what it will be. I asked her, can I get a manager? I said, I kind of feel like I need more support. Can I get a manager? She said, no, I'm gonna be your agent and your manager. I thought, that's not what I really want. And so as things kept progressing, I got an offer to work with the vibrator necklace, which you guys know I've been talking about forever, and you guys have been waiting for that project. I got that offer in November, and I came to my agent about it because I had worked my ass off for this offer. And so I told my agent, because legally I can't really make money in America unless it goes through my agent. I cannot get a job at Starbucks. Like, I am not allowed. I can only get work that is in my field and that comes or passes through the agent, which is why every single thing that I do, she has to take 10% off of that. So I go to her and I'm trying to find a creative compensation route, because it's just simply not fair that she will be taking a sizable percentage off of every single sale when she really can't help, didn't get the job, and doesn't have the skill set or the relationships to help me sell this product after the fact. And once again, they told me, that's right, they said no. They said this is the way that it's going to be. And I thought, nah, it's not. And so I went in the process of severing my ties with this agent. And this is a big risk that I took. Not only did severing ties with this agent mean I would have to turn down this BET deal, when I really thought about it, I was paying her to be a good friend. I was commissioning her to be a friend, not really to do her job. And that isn't a knock against her, because again, I think I'm a little bit out of her wheelhouse. And this person has a family life and a full-on life. They're not dedicated in the same way of spending their weekends and hustling and networking, and that's totally okay. But I actually heard an amazing piece of advice that I will never forget. I went with my friend Angela Dugan to go see Divas of Hollywood, Hollywood Divas, Real Hollywood Divas. You know, the one with like Countess Vaughn and Golden Brooks, that TV show. So my friend worked on that and she brought me there for the season finale, and Tamala Jones was talking about the biggest lesson that she learned, her biggest regret in Hollywood. And she said when she was on Hustle and Flow, that project, and it became a mass success, bigger than any of them thought it would be, Taraji P. Henson and Terrence Howard both got new agents. They fired their old agents and went with a bigger company to adjust for their greater level of fame. And she didn't. She stayed loyal, and her career is her career and their career is their career. Like, it really started to transform in my mind what loyalty really was. And I'm like, is loyalty, this is a crazy concept, don't get me wrong, but is loyalty something that the 1% or the higher ups pass down and imparted on us in order to keep us complacent in situations that no longer satisfy us? Because loyalty says that whether or not you're actually doing something for me or progressing me in my life or adding value to my life, I will stay by you just because. You know, we were told that, you know, you should stick with your original high school relationship if that's who is with you in your hard times, because that's who deserves to be with you when you're great. But what if they can't support you in your greatness? What if they don't have relationships, or they're not advancing in your greatness or coming into their own greatness? Are you supposed to hold on to those situations just because that's the right, right thing to do? So while this person was a great friend and I loved her deeply, I had to ask to leave. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done. I was sick to my stomach constantly. Weeks before I set the meeting with them to talk about leaving, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I just felt disgusting. I felt disgusted with myself. And I went into the meeting, and y'all know exactly how it went. There was not a single ounce of ownership. There's not a single ounce of, you know what, Shannon, you wrote out a complete list of all the jobs you've done, and not one job is my name beside there as the reason you got that job. I can see where you're coming from, that perhaps this relationship is not equally yoked. No, complete oblivion, blame, deprecation, defamation of my character. Deprecation, I mean shitting. She shit on me. She legit told me I wasn't as pretty as other people on her roster. So I just left that meeting and I was like, whatever, lady. And I lost a friend. In that exact moment, the basic reason I even came to America, the person who believed in me first, played a large role in my development. I spoke about her in my last video as being somebody who was very supportive. When it came down to it and I said I need to grow, all she said was no to me. And I started to really take into account all the limiting sentences that she would tell me, like, you're not there yet. All the time, like, well, we would do that, but you're not there yet. I would say, I want to do YouTube. I spoke to somebody about it. My daughter, she works at this YouTube company, and we know that YouTubers, it's overflooded. Like, you really probably can't do that space anymore because there's too many people in it. You're not there yet. You don't really have any fame to you, so you wouldn't be able to make an impact in that way. Okay, cool. Started to do YouTube, made a little bit of an impact, came to her like, hey, can we start trying to get brand deals? You're not there yet. Once you get to this amount of numbers, then we'll talk about it. Okay, struggling for money, come to this lady, hey, think I can try to get X agent or this person, maybe I should get a commercial agent on board, what do you think? She gets upset for me for even saying this or suggesting it, but then sends me out on a commercial agency audition that she had through her relationship, to some rinky-dink agency that was in the back of a garage or something. And I'm like, what about the bigger agencies? Why did you send me there? You aren't there yet. They aren't interested in you. You're not really there yet. Okay. But it turns out that when I started to look for a new agent, every single major agency thought I was there. CAA, UTA, William Morris. I met with every single major agency, and everyone thought I was there. The kicker of all this, I'm ranting like a motherfucker, but excuse me. The kicker of all this is that when I asked to leave, they said, this isn't a prison, you can leave anytime. But sure enough, when I said, yeah guys, I'm leaving, they said, no problem, but you're under contract with us until 2018, so no, you're really not. Thought I could leave any time. No, we have made insurmountable investment in you, Shannon, and we want to recoup what we have lost. And in order to do that, we have to honor the contract and blah, blah, blah. So Shannon Boudram had to hire a lawyer, and I got a top lawyer. I got one of the top lawyers entertainment lawyers in California. And for 3 months, y'all, I sabotaged myself because in order to get out of this contract, I couldn't work for 3 months. And so I didn't go on one meeting, one audition. I didn't make any money. I took no brand deals. I did nothing. Then I finally got out of the contract 3 months later. And of course, whenever you emerge from being dead for a while, you're like, guys, I'm ready to play. And everyone's like, who are you? And you're like, oh, I have to start all over again. And that pretty much marks where I'm at right now. I am free of this contract, and I'm comfortable talking about it for this one remarkable reason. I was legally tied to this agent, not just through her contract, but also through immigration. And so I have been unable to leave America, because if I do, and she reported me to U.S. immigration as no longer being with her, I would get disallowed back into the country without a sponsor. But I got an immigration lawyer. I re-enlisted Kate Raynor and Associates, who got me my original O1 visa, and I am now working on my green card. Oh, I'm so excited for this one thing in my life. Like, I'm thrilled. I'm over the moon about it. I remember meeting somebody when I first came to the U.S. from Canada who showed me their green card, and I was like, how do you get one of those? Like, just to be able to work freely and not be afraid, look over your shoulder, or have a petitioner, or every single time that I have to work, I have to send over everything, y'all. Blood samples, like urine tests. Me applying for my immigration, my green card, not only frees me from being in the situation I was in before, where one person is responsible for having me in the country, but it also puts me in a dilly of a pickle because it's expensive. On top of that, my immigration lawyer said, Shannon, if you apply for another O1, which I'm now currently signed to U.S.A Talent, which is, Angelina Jolie's agency, but whatever, you can get another O1 just like that. It will cost you half the price, you will be cleared, it will all work out. If you go for this green card though, you are probably on the 70% line. You haven't really, like Drake will get a green card, no problems asked, right? Shannon Boodram, they're gonna be like, sorry, who that? Who that? Who that? Like, so they're like, you could do it, but we're telling you it's a risk. Do you wanna do it? And of course, I consulted all of the different parts of my life and all the things that I have been wishy-washy on, and I thought, how dare I ask other people, be that you guys who sit at home, who listen to me and invest your time in me, your precious time, this is a long ass video, in me, or going to auditions and asking production companies or asking brands to invest in me when I am afraid to invest in myself. How can I ask somebody else to believe in me and give to me, fully devote to me, if I don't do that for myself? And I know for me, being able to take on, for example, the vibrator necklace deal, which I just recently opened that back up after this whole 3 months of famine is completely finished. Being able to accept that deal would be tricky under my visa. Doing YouTube deals is tricky under my visa. Doing counseling is tricky under my visa. I don't want to be tricky. I don't want to. I want to live clear, and honestly, I want to do good work. I want to throw myself into it. I've been volunteering for Aviva, which is a house for girls who are at risk and survivors of sex trafficking, and have become so close with these girls that I'm like, I want to become a foster mom. Like, that's something that definitely is a goal for me within the next year to 2 years. And in order for me to do that, I cannot be a temporary worker here. So I need that visa. That marks pretty much how I feel about my life right now, period. How much do I believe in myself? And can I surround myself with others who share that passion, one, and two, have the tools to support it? And that's a very important second option, which a lot of people tend to overlook. It's one thing to be gung-ho and rah, rah, rah and in your corner. It's another thing to be in your corner and have the nutrients and vitamins and the stitching to get you back into the ring so you can fight and be at your best. The people who are the cheerers are the ones in the stands, and they still matter, and they still exist, and they still pump you up. But the two spots that you have, my boyfriend and the person in charge of my career, the two spots that I have who are ringside with me have to do more than just have good intentions. They have to. So I'm making this video for you guys at home to say, do it. I don't care what it is. You know where you want to live. You know what you have to do. You may be plateauing right now. You might be experiencing that last 10 pounds that you can't lose. You might be looking at your life and saying, why isn't it better? You already know the answer to that is because there's certain things that you're unwilling to change, certain relationships you're unwilling to give up, that is stopping you from getting to your next best step. I always use a quote my mom says, reach for the treetops, land on the ground. Reach for the stars, land on the treetops. And me applying for this visa is me signing to top tier agencies where I am a low priority versus being at a small agency where I was a very high priority is me coming on YouTube constantly and trying to compete with the big guys and asking you guys for your attention and asking you guys to care or to be invested, reaching for the star. I'll be happy with the treetops, but I think at this point in my life, I can't be on the ground anymore. Like, I'm done with the ground. And you guys will see behind me, this is a money altar. Something that I recently put into my life, in my world, that's a very important thing to me. I need money in order to get to my next greatest step. I want to have access to greater things. I want to be able to have a better and bigger impact. I want to be able to go to Aviva or go to Mosaic, my church, and give more than just my time and presence. I want to be a real contributor to people who I think are great, and just like the people who are great in my life are great contributors to me, my friends are constantly offering me money. I'm sick of it. I love it, but I'm sick of it, you know? Like, I want to be able to do that for them. I've had people, of course, through my counseling services, which has been, oh my God, so amazing. Like, Lord, words, life, God cannot express how empowering my counseling sessions have been, not just to give and to serve for you guys, and to also be validated with money for what I do, because that's an important part of it, to know that I'm worth it, that my advice and my expertise and all that I've studied actually has a value on it. But when I tell y'all something, I take that lesson back to myself, and you guys have challenged me in so many ways because I can't spin y'all bullshit that I'm not putting into action for myself. And I've seen that, where I tell people, advocate for yourself, advocate for your needs. If something has happened that you don't like, you put your foot on that thing and you say, stop doing this thing. Do I do that? Not all the time. I let a lot of things slide, or people slide, or behavior slide, or comment slide. And you guys might even notice in the comment section now, I'm less likely to take shit from you guys. I say you guys loosely, I mean like 0.09% of you who are just ridiculous human beings. I'm not taking shit from you guys anymore. If I don't like something that you said, I'm gonna put my foot on your comment. But thank you to everybody who has said, Shannon, I want your help, who has committed and booked, because I probably get 60 emails, and of those 60 emails, 6 people actually end up booking. I don't really know why that's the math, but for the 6 people who follow through and do the session and invest themselves in that way, you guys inspire me so much. You inspire me so much, and thank you for trusting me. And I hope any of you guys who have been reluctant to try that service out know that it's a two-way street, and that I'm dying to meet you and I'm dying to connect with you. And there's a lot that we can do together when we work as a team and we collaborate. There's no shame at all in saying I need help with something that I think that you have a good handle on, and I will call myself an expert on this because I put the work in for that. And in turn, I will come to you and also be nourished from you and your learning and your education. So it's a two-way street. Or just comment. The comments mean the world to me too. Y'all already know that. The comment section gives me life. This YouTube channel has given me a new life and a new purpose, and I want to stick with this and hold me accountable. So if I don't reach 1 million subscribers in 5 years and I'm thinking of quitting because it's not going well, play this video for me and say, don't do that again. Stay here, work hard, push through it, lose that last 10 pounds. You can do this. Not if you quit though. You can't do it if you quit. So don't quit. That's all. Oh, and lastly, finally, I'm putting up a video that I did with Kate Raynor, who is my lawyer. She is the person who I used to get my O1 visa, and I'm going back to this firm again because they have a 99% success rate to do my green card application. I'm going to say this because I get asked the question all the time about people who live abroad who want to come to America. If you know you're meant to be here, be here. If you're cool in Toronto, you're cool in Switzerland, or you're cool in Cuba, stay in Cuba. There's something wrong with being amazing where you're at, but if you know you're meant to be in America, make it happen. You can do it. I did not have what I thought was enough to apply, but anybody can apply. And so I want to say, if you've ever thought of coming to America, you can call Kate Raynor for a free consultation. I did an interview with her on my other, and a video I'm going to put up at the same time as this one, that really just talks about coming to America. If this is a dream for you, make it happen. And you can use my name for a referral, because shit, I'm trying to get some money off my visa. That was expensive. Just keep it real.